Hello friends, welcome to Senior to Junior Academy. So this will be the third part of the series that we have continued of top core companies campus interview question. So those who are new to the channel, I would request them to please go back and watch our previous two videos which consisted of 10 questions. We you know that we already upload 5 set of questions in every part. So already we have uploaded two part and this will be the third part. So for new viewers, I would request them to please visit our channel and watch the previous two parts so that it would become easy for them as the questions are uploaded in a regular pattern, because if you are not watching the first part it will definitely be a problem to watch the third part. So in this part I will upload the questions from 11 to 15, which will consist of again 5 different set of questions from 5 different core companies asked for a mechanical guy. So we will see question number 11. The question is asked. It was asked in Tata Steel, and the question is define annealing, quenching, and tempering. So we know that these all three processes are heat treatment process for steel. So first is annealing. So what is annealing is, in annealing we heat the steel till it becomes red hot, and then we slowly cool it. What I told is, first we heat it to red hot, then we slowly cool it. So what is the properties that has been impacted after it is slowly cooled? The materials become soft and ductile. So this is the advantage of annealing, that the material we get is soft and ductile. And examples are your fabricated materials that is used in your door and windows, that is soft and ductile, and that is obtained by annealing process. Next is your quenching. What we do in quenching is, again we heat it to red hot, and then instead of slow cooling we do it a sudden cooling in water or oil. So what is the properties that is impacted in quenching is that your materials become hard and brittle. So while the difference is in annealing and quenching is that it is slowly cooled, and in quenching it is suddenly cooled. The material that is impacted after annealing is that it is soft and ductile, and in quenching it is hard and brittle. So these two are annealing and quenching. The next one is your tempering. So what we do in tempering is that we take the quenched steel and again reheat below its red hot temperature. That means till it becomes red hot temperature, just below it becomes red hot, and again we slowly cool it. So basically what we get in the properties of tempering is that it is like it is medium hard and brittle. Neither it is so hard, neither it is so brittle. It is just medium hard and brittle. So this is tempering, and because of tempering we get a, like this is your rod for example, then our layer oxide layer settles on the top of the surface, and because of this surface settling of oxide layer in the surface of this like rod, it becomes colored. So this is tempering. I hope you got an idea about annealing, quenching and tempering. So we'll see next question. The next question was asked in Tata Technology, and the question was, what is the difference between punching and blanking? This is a question of production, and this is very important concept for your gate also, because in gate regular questions are asked with punching and blanking. Both are your shearing operation, you know that. The basic difference between punching and blanking is that I will explain with the help of example. Like for example, this is your sheet, and if you want to get this, like this is your sheet, this is a useful sheet, and like if you are making a hole which is not useful to you, it is a total waste, then the operation that we do is punching. Means punching is taking waste out from useful product. Like this rectangular sheet is your useful product, and you need to make a hole in this, that is total waste, so we do punching. And what is blanking? Blanking is like you have a scrap like this, and you want to take out a rectangular piece from this, that is taking out useful from waste product. This is total waste, and you want to make a rectangular sheet cut from this waste product. So this is called your blanking. Means you are taking useful from waste, and in punching you take waste from useful. This is how I understood punching and blanking. I have put a picture over here, like this is your total waste, this part is total waste, and you need to take out a useful circular product. So this is your blanking, and in punching you can see that this is a useful product, and you want to make a hole in this hole is definitely your waste. So this is punching. I hope you got a clear idea about punching and blanking. So next question we'll see is that was asked in Accenture, and the question is differentiate between Shaft and Excel. As you know that Shaft and Excel are basically the most confusing thing, and these are very regularly asked in the interview. So first of all, let me tell you the where they are first used. Excel is used. This is Excel and this is Shaft. Excel is used in your wheels, like this is your two wheels, and Excel connects them. Whereas shaft is used to transmit power from your gearbox to your differential and then to the wheels. Like when shaft is from a gearbox to differential, and this part is your axle. So the difference, first of all, shaft, you know that shaft is always an active member. It always rotates when the engine is on. That means shaft is a live participant, whereas axle is just a hole and it is used to just carry the load of the wheels, or sometimes just connect them, like it is a dead member, like it doesn't participate in anything. Also, the difference between them is that shaft is a rotating member. As you know, I told you that it connects from gearbox to differential, so it always rotates because it needs to transfer power. It is a rotating member, it transfers powers and torque. And also one thing is that it is subjected to both your bending stress and torsional stress, because it is always in a rotating form. So torsional is obviously the stress that is generated always, and also bending stress is generated. Whereas in case of axle, it is a non-rotating member because it is just connected to the wheels, no torque, obviously no torque transfer, and it is used to support wheels, just simple as that. And it is subjected to bending moment, as sometimes your one wheel can be down, one wheel can be upwards, so sometimes it is subjected to bending moment. So these are the basic difference between shaft and axle that was asked in Accenture. So we'll see next question. The next question is that one of the famous question, that is the difference between two stroke and four stroke, and it is asked in Excel Dynamics. So this question was quite obvious, and it is expected to ask in any company. This is a basic question. So let me explain you the difference between four stroke and two stroke. In four stroke, as you know that you get a suction, compressor, power and exhaust. Suction, compression, power and exhaust. Whereas in two stroke, two process overlap with each other, and for that reason you get two stroke. In four stroke, what happens is that it has one power stroke for every 2 revolution of crankshaft. Total there are 720 revolution, 720 degree of revolution, and in which you get only one power stroke. That means you are getting one power stroke and 3 dull stroke. That means out of 4, there are 3 revolution and 1 power stroke, whereas in case of 2 stroke, 1 revolution has 1 power stroke and 1 dull stroke. That means it is a more powerful engine, like it does one dull and 1 power, whereas this does 1 power and 3 dull stroke, means it is having more wastage of strokes. The next one is that the turning moment is not uniform, obviously, because 1 power stroke is there and 3 dull stroke is there, so the turning moment is not uniform, and hence in order to complicate with this, and in order to have relation with this kind of revolution, you have to need a heavier flywheel. And in case of two stroke, what happens is that one power is there and one dull is there, so turning moment is kind of uniform, one power and one dull, so the flywheel you require is a lighter flywheel. In case of four stroke, power to weight is less. That means power to weight, what I mean by power to weight is less means because like for same weight you get less power, and in case of two stroke, for same weight you get more power. So power to weight ratio in case of four stroke is less, and in case of two stroke is more. Because of one power stroke and in two revolution, lubrication required less and hence less wear. Obviously, because you are getting one power stroke in two revolutions, so lubrication system is required less, and obviously there is less wear. In case of two stroke, what happens is that you are getting one power stroke and one dull stroke, so heavy lubrication system is required and high rate of wear is also done. The fifth difference is that the volume, obviously your volumetric efficiency is high. I have already explained what is volumetric efficiency. Volumetric efficiency is that amount of air that is inducted in the cylinder at the time of suction. So the volumetric efficiency basically is total volume of cylinder by amount of that is air that can go. And in four stroke the volumetric efficiency is high as compared to two stroke. Now the last is application. It is used basically where your efficiency is concerned. For example, in car you get in car you get four stroke because you need efficiency, and whereas two stroke you know that it is basically for power, like where you need a heavy power like ships. And one more thing that two stroke is not used nowadays. I have banned, means it is banned in some of the some or most of the countries it is banned. I have uploaded one lecture regarding the disadvantage of two stroke, why it is banned. You can click on the description box to watch it. So the next question is that it was asked in Terveni turbines. The question is differentiate between nozzle and diffuser. So the basic difference between nozzle and diffuser is that a nozzle is a device which accelerates the fluid velocity. Like this is nozzle. What happens is that you know the equation of continuity is A1 V1 equals to A2 V2. So if area cross section is reduced, so velocity will increase. And in diffuser what happens is that your cross section increases, so your velocity reduces, and in this case your velocity increases as cross section area decreases. So nozzle is a device which accelerates fluid velocity, and as I told you that fluid velocity increases and pressure decreases. So where is the nozzle used? Basically nozzle is used to provide thrust in jet engines. Like this part you can see the nozzle is used in order to, they will provide you thrust and the rocket will move forward. So this is the application of nozzle. The other hand is your diffuser. Diffuser is totally opposite to nozzle. As I told you that if cross section area will increase, then velocity will decrease. So why do we need to decrease velocity and where it is used? See, in case of your jet engine in the front side, you need that the air should enter into this your jet engine compressor with slow velocity and uniform velocity, so that they can be compressed and thrown into the combustion chamber. And after combustion chamber you have a turbine and then exhaust. So this is the application of diffuser. As I told you that in rocket engine you have four components, like you have your compressor, then you have your combustion chamber, then you have your turbine section, then you have your exhaust. So diffuser plays a major role in taking the air and reducing its velocity so that it can be compressed nicely and thrown into the combustion chamber. I hope this is the differences of nozzle and diffuser. I hope you have got a clear idea, and this question was asked in Terveni turbines. So this ends the lecture of this part. So I thank you all for watching this lecture from Senior to Junior Academy. If you have any doubt, please mail us at senior2junioracademy@gmail.com, and I will send you the PPT if somebody wants it. And this is our Facebook page. We regularly update information about any exams on our page. We have our own group. I will put that in our description link. You can join that for regular updates. So I thank you all. Please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of the lectures. And I thank you all for watching. All the best.